I wanted to do a film review for the 2025 Dracula, which I watched yesterday. But I want to do this really quick. So I want to do this. My goal is in under 5 minutes, but I'm already 13 seconds and I haven't even started. So hopefully under 10. I am downloading Kingdom Hearts. I really want to play Kingdom Hearts, so I'm trying to do this quickly. So I watched the 2025 Dracula last night, and I feel like, okay, first off, it says horror fantasy, but this is definitely not a horror movie. I mean, I guess, yeah, it kind of is because it's like vampires, and it is a fantasy, but I would say this is more like a campy horror love drama than a horror or a fantasy, leaning way more into the romance side. So I literally just found out this morning that this is called Dracula 2025 A Love Tale. I thought this was just called Dracula, and I was so confused when it leaned into the romance part more. I was like, what is this? This is not what I signed up for, even though it was, because that's the movie. Besides that griping apart, because I don't really think that detracts from it, honestly. I think it's fine. It is the plot of the movie. I thought that it was good. So the plot of the movie is pretty straightforward. It takes some of the element from the book, but this is not to be confused with the book, the actual book. It borrows the names of the characters and stuff. So you have, Caleb Landry Jones plays Count Dracula, which is Vlad the Impaler. You have Zoe Blue, who plays Mina/Elizabetta, and some other characters. The most notable is Christopher Waltz, which plays Van Helsing, which is what drew us to the movie, because I love Christopher Waltz. So essentially, Vlad goes to war with a Muslim nation, it sounds like. That's just out of the movie. And, before he goes, he asks the cardinal priest, don't pray for me, pray for my wife to be safe while she travels to a safe house. Safe castle? Safe place? I don't know. Safe castle. And so he goes to the battle. They win. They do a nod to Vlad the Impaler by having the heads on the spears, the stakes. And as Elizabetta, who becomes Mina later in the film, is escaping, they are ambushed by these enemies and she dies. So Vlad, who was right there right before she died, he's fighting off the enemies in the field, and one of them goes up to kill her. He throws a sword, pierces through it, but he's too late. She's already stabbed, and she dies. And he never got to say goodbye, which is one of what I think is the driving motives for him to go back to the castle. He kills the cardinal priest and he abandons God. So that's the setup. That's how he becomes Dracula. There isn't like this, he runs into a vampire and he becomes Dracula. It's because he abandoned God. Because God didn't protect Elizabetta, which is what his ask was. Because this is a love story. So, even in the original novel, I believe this is the whole plot of it, is this is a love story. So anyway, all that aside, this movie is heavily carried by Caleb Landry. He does an amazing job as Vlad, even with the accent and all the makeup when he's the old man. And he has a presence, like a old, timey Victorian presence. I don't know. He's got swag. That's all I'm gonna say. He's got swagger. He's got that Victorian swagger. I thought Zoe Blue was good as Elizabetta/Mina. She does a great performance as Mina, as someone who is coming to terms with realizing who she actually is. And of course, Christopher Waltz's Helsing is always good. He's like a perfect actor. So no notes here. Plot is he spends the 400 years looking for Elizabetta, and I thought it was fine. This is a movie that is very heavily geared towards women, and now that I'm thinking about it in hindsight, it's very love campy, mommy book where it's tragic at the end because they don't actually end up together. But this is very much geared towards women. This is for women. This is a monster love story for the moms in the audience who, they want to read porn, but they don't want to read porn because this scratches the itch. I'll admit there were some points where it made my heart flutter a little bit. I was like, oh, why can't I have a monster vampire boyfriend or husband? I would pick being the vampire, honestly. Being a vampire is my number one monster, outside of maybe a werewolf. But vampires are fucking awesome, and this is not the time for a vampire love fest. But I thought that for what it was trying to be, I thought that it did what it needed to do. it told the story it wanted to tell. I didn't feel like there was any elements that I would have liked more of. I thought that it was neatly compacted in 2 hours, a little over 2 hours. It didn't feel like 2 hours. And I liked also that the movie really doesn't take itself very seriously. It leans in heavily on the camp. There's this whole, in the midsection, he has this perfume that can kind of mind control people, but not really. It attracts them to him. And there's this whole montage of all of these different eras in history, noble people dancing. And he puts it on, and all the women and all the men are like, oh my god, you're sexy, and all that kind of stuff. I thought that the period clothing in the setting was beautiful. They knocked that out of the park. It really told you what era they were in. This all takes place in Europe too, so this is all mid-century European clothing. I thought that we got to know Van Helsing in the short amount of time that we get to see him. I thought that he, stated what he was there to do, what his goal was, and all of that. Well, again, this is a 2-hour movie. This is not... There's a lot of story to put in here. This is based off of, Dracula is a big story. It's not short. And I thought that they did well with the allotted time that they gave themselves. I don't think there's anything that I would have changed. I thought the ending was good. I've seen some complaints online that are ooh, it was rushed. And why would all of a sudden, after 400 years, Dracula is deciding that he doesn't want to be with Elizabeth anymore, even though that was his goal? Did you watch the movie? Van Helsing literally says to him, he's Elizabetha is my salvation. And he's well, you're her damnation. It's literally, if you love something so much, you should let it go. Let her go live her life. He didn't turn her into a vampire. She says to him, take me. He bites her neck, but he doesn't turn her into a vampire. It's pretty implicitly clear. She is not a vampire at that moment. Helsing is you are gonna damn her for life. Because it's made pretty explicitly clear that being immortal kind of sucks. I wouldn't say it sucks, but it's not made to be amazing. Dracula is very clearly suffering, and maybe that's because he was heartbroken, which is also a whole thing in the book. Not in the book, the movie. But he doesn't seem like he likes it. Maybe he would have liked it if he'd had her by his side for eternity. I'm not sure, because that's not the point of the movie. The point of the movie is that if you love something so much, even if it's the point of your obsession that you've been after for centuries, if you love someone so much, you should let them go so that they can live their life. And that's exactly what happens. Dracula lets Helsing kill him so that Mina can go and live her life. Because the whole, thing of being a vampire is that you're damned by God. You're not, that's it. You're a vampire, and then assuming that there is a heaven in this world, if there's vampires because of God, I have to assume that there is a heaven in this world. The implication is that when you die, if you're a vampire, you live forever, but when you die, that's it. You turn to dust, and that's it. Or maybe Vlad went to heaven in this, I don't know. It's ambiguous. But the whole thing of being a vampire is that you're damned by God. So that's why he says, you're gonna damn her for life if you do this. She's not going to be able to have a life. You'll forever be doing what you're doing. I don't know. I don't really agree with being a vampire sucks. It looks like it's pretty fucking awesome. Maria looks like she's living her best life. I loved her. She was fucking awesome. I think a whole movie was just her, honestly. She's a vampire who is fucking crazy. I loved her. She's nuts. She's a nuts girl. She's baddie. For real. It's campy, yes. So be prepared for camp coming into this. This is not a straight up horror movie. There's some elements that are tense and uneasy, obviously. But the whole point is to be campy. I mean, there's little gargoyle minions that roam around the castle and do Looney Tune tier stuff. They're trying to... Jonathan, who is a character in the movie who is engaged to Mina, who is Elizabetha, reincarnated... He goes to the castle to do some lawyer stuff with Vlad. It's not important. It's very quickly glossed over. It's just that is just the thing that gets Jonathan to the castle. So, but it's not important. It's just the incident that brings him there, which is fine. Not everything needs to have a reason. Well, not everything needs to be explained, I guess. I'm getting into the weeds of trying to explain why it doesn't matter. Just trust me. It's fine. So he escapes. Obviously, there's a moat around the castle, and it's cold because I believe this takes place in Romania or somewhere adjacent to that. And so Jonathan falls out of the window that he's escaping from, falls off the wall, and he rolls onto the frozen lake. And the gargoyles who are meant to be watching over him, they're like the minions in Despicable Me, except not fucking annoying and make me want to kill myself. And I don't expect to see a bunch of boomer memes on Facebook because centered around them. So he's on the lake and he wakes up and he realizes I can escape. So the gargoyles, who are made of stone entirely, go to try to cross the lake, and one of them breaks the ice and falls in. And then they're like sitting at the edge, like anxiety, like what do we do? We can't go here and get him. And then they also know like MMA fighting skills at the end when the army comes to kill Dracula. Wow, 13 minutes. Cannot believe myself. I wanted to do this quickly. Impossible task, honestly. So again, it leads into the camp. It's supposed to be it's like it's kind of like a Disney movie Little Helpers, but I like them. They were fucking cute. I want one. Anytime I see a little creature in a movie, I'm like, I want this. I want this thing. I wanted the Callisk in Badlands. I want the gargoyles in Dracula. I love Tale. I don't even want to be Dracula. I just want the little gargoyles. But yeah, that's a kind of quick review about Dracula 2025, a love story. A love tale, a love story, a love tale. Dracula, a love 2025, a love tale. You should watch it. It's, again, don't go into this expecting horror. It's like horror, fantasy, campy, love, romance, mushy, silliness, but it's beautifully filmed. The acting is superb. And it's cute at the end. I don't know. Again, if something that is romantic can make my heart grow like half a size, then it's effective, because I am not a romantic person, so it doesn't really, work for me. Obviously, if I wanted to talk more in depth about it, I would, but this is meant to be really quick, and I'm already over 10 minutes. I want to do this in 5 minutes, and I'm nearly triple that time. So make sure you like and subscribe, and comment below what is your favorite monster.